All right, welcome to Nomi League Week 5. We are here live from New York. I'm Michael. I'm joined with the beautiful Cora. Cork, how are you today?
Pretty good. Unfortunately, not in New York myself, but should be looking forward to a bunch of amazing matches. Of course, it looks like we can see here Destroyers in the overall first place, Brooklyn Sours in second, Dora Neko in third, Opie Dopes in fourth.
Yep, that's right. Fifth place, we have the FalKANs. Six, followed by the Penguins, Team Yakuman, and finally Queen's Mahjong Triad. And I think this first game is going to be pretty great because those bottom three teams are facing off against each other, which means those margins are going to be surprisingly thin as they try to not deal into each other or make them deal into each other. And I think a strong first place could put any one of them on top of the other two. And of course, Penguins, after a bad showing last week and the week before from Pio, I think they're really hungry to take those points back.
Well, the thing is, we're in a match like this. These are the points you need to make up because you want to get into those higher spots now where you have a chance. You don't know if it's necessarily the stronger or the weaker competition, but if you're looking at everyone else, just generally looking at any sort of league structure, you need to beat up on those people at the bottom, get those points, get back up.
Absolutely. And I think Vince isn't going to make anything easy. I think he's really hungry to close that gap between him and Destroyers. Destroyers are on an absolute roll right now.
Well, it certainly looks like that. Almost 100 points clear of the Sours.
Yeah, I think this first game is going to be an absolute bloodbath. I think I'm actually looking forward to this first game more than I am at looking forward to Table 2, which has both Destroyers and my own team.
Now, biased commentator, I'm sure that works, but it looks like we're about to start here.
Yep, looks like Vince here has the first dealership. Just waiting for the players to ready up and draw their tiles. And here we go. All right, looking around the table, Josh has a pretty average high tie, a pair of the 7-pin, and looks like a few guest wins.
6-0 door. When you have a
Might be able
7-0 pair, it's nice to have that in there. You can get something out of this. Vince is a pretty decent hand here. A couple pairs as well, but it's going to be hard to just pull this tile in. The 8-pin help that hand immensely.
Yeah, I do like that tune pair in Vince's hand. I think that's going to really speed things up and try to get things off Josh, who I think our overlay is just a little bit off. Where Josh is the first dealer and Vince is going to be the second.
All right, look at Kevin's hand. We see a Hatsu pair, even a couple loose dragons. You're dreaming, Deja.
Oh, there's that pair of home there. Gonna make his hand so quick. Let's see, Melvin's hand. Ooh, got that nice penchant feel. That's gonna be really nice. Gonna help him move into a better shape later on.
There goes the Hatsu pawn, just trying to get out of this hand. Has two Dora, so not particularly complicated, but two of the Doras are floaters, 6-0 and the red 5 mon. So you're going to need to connect to those, but hand pretty well could build to 1300 pretty easily.
Yeah, that Dora in Melvin's hand, however, is looking really, really hard to use, especially with one in Kevin's hand as well.
Well, just pair up the tune, but as we mentioned earlier, that may be a little harder to get. As we now have two people at the tune pair,
Ooh,
so
another
good luck with that.
fail from Vince. That's also going to be nice. Going to cut the 8-so there. And I think that's actually a good draw for him. He gets the Kanchan 8-so to help with the 6-so Dora.
Yeah, connection to the Dora gives you another shape. You're underblocked already, so it does help.
Oh, there's that
See an isolation thing
call. Double ton.
Versus a double leash by itself is two Han, so it doesn't take too much to build a real hand out of that. But regardless, you'd love to have the repeat anyway.
Nope, and there's a second Dora for Melvin.
You prioritize the good shape, or do you accept the Dora?
Looking like he wants the Dora. Well, maybe that.
Nope, wants all the Dora. I think I prefer the 7-pin cut there. You still keep the floating 5 that you can connect to, but you haven't really ruined your hand. The Riichi Dora 1, while not ideal, is good enough most of the time. Of course, you fail the Kanchan, you have Riichi Pinfu Dora, which is a great hand.
Let's see, 2-pin. I think that's, yep, he's just going to toss that back.
Yeah,
we don't need
that does
that. We want
nothing.
to keep all the value you can in this hand.
Similarly, 3 so gets rid of it now. It doesn't really do anything here. Ooh, and that's going to be Tempai waiting on the east. Of course, we have that Chi with that 1 over there, so it is just an Otozuke waiting on the double told.
Ooh, pair of the 7. Yep, we're just gonna drop that 1-pin pair, maybe shift into a sort of weird Tanyao.
Yeah, well, it accepts the 2 Dora and keeps the shapes up as it is. But there's the 8 deal, and deals in on the cheap end will be Hatsu Dora 1. You see the Tempai, and as mentioned, getting the Chun going to be difficult considering 2 of them had it, but that's going to be good enough for Kevin to pick up the first hand here.
All right, moving on to the second hand, we have the 3-so Dora.
Decent starting end here. Maybe even
Not
dream
bad.
of
You have the
Junshan
Young
with
Man,
a
you
hand
have
like
the
this. And of course, the first
Junshan.
draw is the 4, so you're not as thrilled. And I look at that, I really just want Junshan, but I don't know that's going to be there. So you're going to hedge it now with the West Cut and see what happens later.
I think that's an agreeable move. Going for a Chanta like that, it's just not going to be fast. It's not going to be valuable. Can't really do much with it. Much better to prioritize the better weights. Oh, Kevin's hand, though, looks absolutely beautiful.
Pairs up the Dora, has great shapes elsewhere. Look for that reach pin Fudora 2. That'd be plenty of value. You don't have to think too hard about that. Vincent here drawing 6, so just going to play efficiently. Isn't going to play anything fancy here. Just go for the pin Fu, see what happens.
Oh, shifting out some Genpai there.
The dealer mark is wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that much, but probably just looks at the table, doesn't like it, so makes the switch. And here, this 9-so doesn't do much. The question is, do you want to throw the relatively safer 6-so? I would definitely throw the 9-so because you can always pair up the 3 and use the 4-6 at Kanchan. Speaking of useless 9-so, there goes another one.
Melvin really is not getting much out of this hand. I really do not envy his position here.
Now, this is a nice little upgrade here. Just going to Psychic Gary the 6-so. It doesn't do that much in the hand, and it's just not a tile you want sitting around here.
Yeah, you definitely want to get rid of that before anyone can get into some sort of Janmin Tempai on Dora.
When you have the 5-so floater, you're not hoping to pair it up, but you'll take it.
Sorry about that.
All right. Well, throws the 6 and immediately draws the 8 next turn, but wouldn't even really want the
There's
Kanchan that much. Throws it back.
Kill.
Yeah, I believe that's Rianshan 10. We'll still need something to connect to the 4, 6, 7 mainly.
Ooh, a bit of a backfire on the Hatsu draw for Melvin.
Well, the thing about those backfires is people always talk about how it feels terrible when you do it, but at the same time, it's better than backfiring on, say, a Riichi Pinfu Tanyao, because that's a lot of value. If you pair up a Yaku High, it's like, oh, well, we missed it, whatever.
Right,
Possible
all right.
2,
This is
3,
going to lock
4
in the pair of
Sanchoku.
Maimon. And Melvin just keeps drawing his discards. How unfortunate.
Yeah, I almost just want to shift to Honitsu with how bad those draws have been. Oh, well, that's a nice pull. I do not like the 9-pin at all. I think you cut the 9-mon there. Trying to hedge a little more towards the Itsu, but having a headless shape, especially when you have a Penchon in the hand, you just want to pair up the 1 or the 2 and go.
Oh, this is a relatively good draw for Melvin for once. I think here you just cut, Genpai.
Yeah, just going to keep going here. Of course, you look at those draws, yeah, I guess it was Honitsu, but you don't know that at the time. And the 6 just doesn't fit. Yeah, you can definitely see Vince looking for the 2, 3, 4 Sanchoku to pull in here. Of course, the key tile is the Dora, as it usually is. Well,
Melvin
this
kinda
is a
getting another good draw.
Tempai, but it's not a good one. Do you just slam it and say, okay, fine, Ricci, because your improvements are kind of a mess?
Oh, he's slamming that button.
Yeah, I
First
agree with
GG of the night.
it. And on top of that, the 7 actually looks okay because you have 3 of the 5s there, so it is one chance. For you, of course, no one else knows that.
Right. I'm honestly surprised how he managed to make it to Tempai that fast. Turn 8. Waiting for 7-pin there.
Yeah, just waiting on the Kanchan. The 55568, unfortunately, is just two separate shapes. You can't get that nice three-sided out of it. And immediately draws the 6. So maybe he could have had some other improvements, but you just want Tempai with a hand like that. It's not going to improve. And even if you had a 5-6 Ishunten, you're not going to evaluate it unless you also draw Dora and then wait on, what, the 4-so, which isn't very good anyway. So just slamming it, taking whatever's there is fine.
Josh here, pausing, doesn't have any safe tiles, it appears.
Well, he does have 3 6s, so the 7 isn't that bad. And we'll just throw it. And he just slams it, says, I don't want it, fine. Oh, and that's a nice little connection here, but I think Vince is mostly folding at this point.
Yeah, turn 8 Ricci, if you don't really have a good hand, you can't really fight it that easily. Doesn't seem like there's all that much value on the table right now.
Well, that's the last 6 Mon, so the question is, how much of that information do you want to give the table? Because, of course, if you throw the 6 and then the last 6, you're going to tell him, hey, that 7 I pushed was Kabe, and I knew it, although you didn't at the time, just drew later into it. And there's our chase. Ricci, Pinfu, Dora 2.
He's opening it.
Open Ricci with the 6-9 way. Figures the first Ricci can't really defend against, and 6-9 is going to come out from anyone.
Looking around the table, Vince has one of the 6s. One should be on the table, and I believe it was Josh that has the other 2.
Yeah, Josh, remember cutting for the Onko of the 9-pin earlier. And of course, cannot throw that 6 down. That is as dead a tile as you're going to get with the open Ricci.
Things are looking a little tense. I think Vince and Josh are going to back off here. They really don't want to deal in, especially this open Ricci.
Well, that's just it. And this is the problem. If you oh, there goes the 9. Is that open Ricci, Pinfu, Dora 2. Do we see any aura? Yes. I think that boosts it to Hanuman.
Ricci, double Ricci, Pinfu, Dora.
3. Yeah, Dora 2 or a 1.
Yeah.
And then you could know lift up the again. Go ahead.
This is going to be a lovely game for Penguins here.
And this is always the problem with that early Ricci is as long as no one chases, it's fine. But occasionally someone will get a hand and you'll just end up paying out 12 plus the Ricci stick. And there goes 13,000. Melvin in a really bad position now. Kevin, though, really control this early.
Definitely the danger of taking early Ricci with a bad weight.
And that's really the power of the open Ricci is it ends up actually punishing the first player heavily for taking that Ricci, especially on a bad weight, because the second person has almost no incentive to just regular Ricci. And at that point, it's a 2 Han versus 1 with still the possibility of an Ipatsu for 3 Han just like that.
Yeah, it's very easy to get a Mongon just from 1 Ricci being on the board. Plus, you get that extra stick, which is always nice. Kevin's in such a great position right now.
And pulls the Shaw Anko. I don't think that's the Yakuhai, but will move that hand drastically forward. Now we have a Hatsu pair. Probably just going Honetsu here for Vince.
Ooh, Anko for Melvin on the 4-mon.
Yeah, that is Dora. So not just an Anko of Dora. I believe we have 2 people in Ishunten now. But Vince's hand is a bit of a mess right now. I've been looking for some upgrades, kind of hedging towards a potential 4-5-6 Sanshku later, but not quite there yet. Oh, no, this needs connection. I thought that 5 was a different tile, and now we have a pair up here, so can use the south as a pair in this situation, but we'll just play it straightforward and see what happens.
I don't know how we missed it, but Mittens does have 2 Akador in his hand. Pairs up the 9 pin there. Gonna go for the efficient cut on the 9, so he really wants to use these Dora, but I don't think it's really connecting to all that much right now. I think he has a Ranmen in the Sozu, but draws another pair, and there goes the red Manzu. Can't use it. Too hard to use. Josh
Well,
is
there's
gonna
your
take
Tempai.
Yep, and there's the Ricci.
And I think it is just a Ricci Nomi here, but a lot of Fu.
Let's see.
Well, when you have 3 Dora, you honestly don't care. I'd just shove. It's not like you have a lot of defense in hand like this anyway. And yeah, throws the 1 chance to him on. Says, you know what, we go.
And there's
that's a
another
nice little
Akador for
upgrade,
Kevin.
too.
The Reds are just really attracted to him.
But he's just folding. I think this is one where Kevin just looked at his position saying, I have no reason to fight this. Because normal, you just shove it, but he's sitting here at 36,000 in control. Kevin clearly just folding out at this point. Josh getting a few tiles in Mon, but it's not really what you're looking for. Of course, waiting here with this 2 5-pin weight. 7 so does upgrade this shape significantly. Would have to push the 4-pin, which is in the danger zone here. But
yeah,
okay, goes in and throws the 6. Now I'm gonna try and mono-shoot this a little bit. You can pawn something later. You can take your Tempai.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, and that's a perfect tile. You just go. Like, I just shove at this point. And that's going to be the play here. Switch the Suji 3, given the 6 cleared last turn. And that's going to be a cheat.
Kevin's actually going to call.
Well, Kevin didn't want to push, but at this point, that feels like a safe tile. The Haku's a Gimbutsu tile, so you can just shove that anytime. So you're not really sacrificing anything with this call. You're never really going to use those tiles to fold with anyway. Oh, and the backfire. Ooh. This could be Tempai now if you just would have pushed that 4-pin earlier.
He's really thinking about it. He has 3 Dora. This is a hand that he could fight with.
Oh, absolutely. And you're sitting here, you're looking at this and going,
how
what am I supposed to do? Nope.
Ooh. It's gonna fold out. And there's a sumo for Josh.
Reach sumo
is
Nora.
Reaching sumo.
I say a bunch of Fu here with the Onko of the
8,
South
12,
and the
12 Fu. So 40 Fu.
Yeah, it is 40 Fu. This is, I believe, a non-dealer. So what, 713? 700, 1,300.
And we're just going to move right along to East 4. It's been a very quick game. No Renshine.
We're in East 4. Kevin just has control of this game now. And we'll be dealer here with a pretty nice shape in Mon. Would really love the 2 Mon to pull this in. The rest of the tiles, though, aren't great. You're just trying to figure out if anything will connect your floaters. Here, Josh has almost the exact same hand. Like a bunch of great shapes in Mon and floaters everywhere else. Vince has, ooh, that's the Lonko pull at the 8, so it's just probably a Tanya here. And we don't have it on the screen yet, but the door appears to be Haku. There it goes. And we just keep drawing tiles like that. Like maybe we'll hedge towards the Honitsu or even Chinitsu just with how things are going. Friso, very interesting draw. You may even similarly make a choice here is how greedy you want to be for the Tanya versus the Hon/Chinitsu. We have a pair of the Tumon. This is An awkward 6, 6, 7, 7 shapes will just cut from it. And now actually perfect Isha on 10. That fills Josh's Ryanman there with a 5, 7, 8, pulls the 9 there. Not too much in that hand, but you're really hoping you pull into Itsu eventually.
Yep. Vince pairs up the north, advances if he really wants to go for that Honitsu.
Okay, Josh actually cuts to 7 here, trying to maybe bait out the 8 later. Does lose a bunch of efficiency this way, but tries to lock in the pinful and keep a relatively safe east tile.
Melvin draws an okay tile. Not too dangerous, but not one he wants to keep either.
Well, Melvin just ramming around an Isha on 10. You either get the tile or you don't. There's really not much dancing unless you draw a floating Dora, and then you just look at your hand and go, what do they do? And Vince says, I have Honitsu, forget this hand, and possible Suanko upgrade if you really want to dream.
He gets this Suanko Honitsu. I'm gonna go absolutely wild. Josh and Mins are very
It's one of those
committed
hands you don't
to
really
Dora.
think is going to happen, but you can dream about it.
Coming up to the second row, and I believe it's Josh and Vince who are just hanging on to that door, hoping to do anything with it. And oh, good fill for Josh?
Yeah, Josh pulled that in, but it still needs a little bit of help. Just kind of floating at that door. It doesn't have a pair yet. Would love just pair it up, and I'll just use it as the head. It's fine. Well, I think, Kevin, the hand is telling you to go Chiditsu. Sometimes your hand just goes, I'm going this direction, and I don't care if you think otherwise.
I wonder, is Josh planning on going Dora Tonki on his hand?
Well, if you don't get a pair anywhere else, sure, you'll take it.
Oh, and
the
yeah,
chi.
maybe running for that Shinitsu.
I mean, if you end up pawning the 9, you'll take it. And that's a very correct style would be to take that call, just sit there with 3 calls, Ishanten, even though you're obviously cheated to the rest of the table. Okay, just going to cut the 3-so now. Doesn't believe in the Suanko. Wants to get rid of the relatively dangerous tile now and keep a bunch of these floaters. Calls the north. Turn it into the Honitsu. The question is, will it be Dortanki? Will it be thrown away? We'll see. Kevin draws another Monta. Doesn't fit in immediately, but there are routes to it. And 1-so gets thrown back. You're dreaming Itsu, but given that it wasn't there earlier, you just take this as is. So I believe this is Tempai.
But he has to discard Dora. Ooh.
Yeah, I think that's just, well, no, waiting on the Haku Tanki right now.
Okay, so yeah, he's
So
committed
could have
to
taken a huge weight shape upgrade. But instead, just likes the Dora here. Karagir in the 4-so. Since it just came out, looks like it might be a fold. At least trying to disguise it here.
I think at this point, Josh cannot get rid of that Haku no matter what.
No, you see someone opening with the pay call, and you're like, what? That's not even North player. So it's obvious on Itsu. A lot of the time, it's going to be 2 of them there. The only time you feel the Haku's going to pass against that is if he actually has all 3, and then probably cons on you anyway. Yes, would have been 4-8 keeping that 4 because of the 3 earlier. So keeping the Haku Tonki definitely makes sense here. 6, so you can see the hesitation, but just throws it anyway. Josh's hand similarly stuck in Nishan 10. We just love to pull the 2-mon or the 4-mon each way Dora Neko as well. And so if you do end up with that shape, the Dora Neko, just open and say, I dare you.
Kevin getting really lucky with these draws, being able to maintain his Ishanten without breaking his, without having to cut that very suspicious-looking ton right now.
Well, this is going to be a very suspicious 5-mon push. Oh, no, throws the Dora. Just going to try and keep the K10. Figures the Dora is going to be better. And there's the Dora that everyone had been looking for.
Expertly drawn Gembutsu.
Oh, and there's our Chinitsu Tenpai now on 2-5.
Josh opting to keep the safe Haku there, rather than pushing it safely after it's been cut twice now. Might still be looking to Tonki on the last one. I'll wait.
7 doesn't fit. You just throw it back. It doesn't feel good, but it's like, what else are you going to do? You have Chinitsu Tenpai, good weight.
Last turn for each of these players. Melvin hesitating a little bit, but I think the 9-so should be safe there.
2-pin fast a few turns ago. Should be fine here. I just think Josh has been keeping the Dora there as a safe tie. I mean, it makes sense given how things were. We're going to have 2 players, Tenpai, waiting on the 5-mon. Has said that floating Aka that never could really get rid of. And then Kevin with the Chinitsu he walked into.
Kevin's going to maintain his dealership here, and we're going to get our first Homba. First big Homba. If you're new to the stream, we do big Homba here. So each one of those is going to be worth 1,500 points. So 1,500 points is on the table right now.
Yeah, 500 each. It means you tend to be a lot more push heavy, and the corollary though is if someone goes on a sumo rampage, as it is in like a ladder match, it's worse with big Homa.
Absolutely, we've seen, or rather, we've missed several of those on the off-stream table, as several of our players have gone up to 5, 6, 7 big Homa. It gets very ridiculous very fast. Vince on his first draw immediately filling in that penchant.
Yeah, the rest of the shapes are okay, but there's no real value in a hand like that. Melvin, the shapes are awful, and there's no real value in a hand like that.
Oh, Kevin gets that content.
Yeah, connects with the 3-5-5 with the Aka 5, so can end up using, if that ends up being the final weighting shape, you wait on the 3-pin and 4-pin. Now, Melvin's looking at his hand and trying to figure out how do I make any sort of value on it, and just decide we'll just keep the June, hope something pairs up, maybe get out of this hand quickly because it's just a mess.
Yeah, especially
with not a mess is this one with Josh. Looking for the Peiko 3-pin would be an amazing pull.
Vince cutting tone early, making sure that no one can get an easy Yakuhai and collect that extra 1,500 on the board.
Not to paired up 7, just gets rid of the 1. Just seems like pretty standard. You do have the extra Haku in the hand that's being kept as safe towel. I think I'd have thrown that instead. You see Vince pulls the 9-so up, wants to throw it, then looks again at the door as he's, oh wait, it's 7-so. Maybe I should keep the connector to it. Well, that's a nice shape and value upgrade. Just draw Akko when you have a 6-8. Definitely helps everything. And that connects to the 4 here. Maybe dreaming 3-4-5 Sanchoku. But that 5 pin's going to be an exercise to manage to pull in, considering Kevin just hoarding all of them.
Oh, and we have Tempai for Josh.
Ricci Ipeco just on the 3 pin here.
Melvin continuing his Nagashi Mangan. Fills in
Now,
the
interestingly,
ramen there.
Kevin, that floating 3 may get Kevin in trouble because it's going to be Kabe to him because he can see all the 5s. So the 3 is going to look pretty safe.
Katagiri from Vince on the 8 pin.
And there's only one 3 pin left in the wall. So just drawing to 1 out. Let's say that 5-5-5-3 shape may cause a problem later. Melvin's hand, though, is basically trash. Maybe you hedge towards a Cheetoy later, but probably just fold out of it.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely going to fold. Another Katagiri from Kevin.
Yeah, and Kevin could even there shove the 3 pin and dealt in there. So just going to go and get rid of the 9 there.
Yeah, but again, Kevin's so far up, he really does not need to play this game. He could just fold out and be perfectly safe.
Well, that's where that big homa comes into it. Oh, well, that's the perfect draw. Ricci Pinfu Dora waiting on 5-8, so Dora 2.
Opts not to open it this time. I think he really does want to make sure that no one else can take this big homba.
And there's one of those 8s, so we'll see if there's a reward.
Oh, and he
There's the
deals
3.
in.
Deals in. Ricci Ipeco.
You take the money
No
out.
Ura, but we'll get the 26 plus 1,500, and the Ricci sticks back. That's where you see the big homba coming in there. That's 5,100 from the hand that just Ricci Ipeco.
And now he gets his dealership too, so he could start trying to overtake Kevin for a position here. Something that Triads really need right now.
It has a bunch of decent so tiles, but just throws the 1 so immediately. I feel that's one of those hands that I'd have sorted before I discard. Normally I don't. But that one just felt like it was hard to read.
All right, Vince pairs up the south here, has pairs south and west. So that's going to quicken his hand a little bit, but I think he might try to look for a bit more value given his position.
Yeah, you're sitting at 9,100. You just need to build value. But it could be Toy, but you're a long way off from that. And may honestly just end up going Cheetoy. You have a floating door. It looked like there were 4 pairs. So that's going to be your quote-unquote shortcut to Hanemon. But Cheetoy on the other side is the shortcut to No 10 because it either fills or it doesn't. And a lot of the time, it just doesn't.
There's a Ryeonman fill.
And yeah, I like the 6 pin here. You're kind of hedging everything. You can still cut one of the wind pairs if you want. You can call the south if you want. It gives the most options. It does kill off the Chitoitsu, but I think at this point the hand is justified in doing so. Kevin keeping this pay floater just as a relative safe tile. Doesn't really trust the hand yet.
There's the south. Vince is going to call it. Going for south door 1, most likely.
I think that's double south.
Oh, it is double south. This is the south round. 8-so draws here is just really awkward. It's Suji, it overlaps on your weights for the 4-5, so
I
There's
just
no-
throw it back. Instead, decide to throw the 3-pin. Just figures the 1-3-3-5 isn't a shape I want sitting around with 2 pins Dora. We either get the 2-pin or we get the 4. We're not going to accept both. And it's been something I've seen in this table is a lot of we'll just keep the safer tiles if I don't trust my shapes.
There we go, picking up more odd Pinzu. Just need to find an even one to fill in.
And he just throws the East, says, you know what, the hand's going to basically play itself now. The extra safety I get from keeping the East isn't worth the efficiency hit when you have 7-9-9 in 2 suits.
And there's a nice fill for Kevin.
Yeah, it goes and slims down this extended Ryankon to regular Ryankon with the 1-3-5-7. Of course, really wants to pull the 2-pin door in, but just never believed in this hand that it was 2 shapes. Always treated it as 1 shape. Nate's a pair up for Vince, and honestly, that's not the situation you want to be in. You do have enough value to keep that Ishan 10, but you're looking for a safer tile, considering you're going to need the 3-pin to make that hand workable. And you just know it's in demand, especially if it's coming out that people are going to use it in their hand. Oh, throws the 1-pin here. Doesn't trust Dora at all. That's an interesting play.
It looks like he might try for Ipeko, the killer of efficiency here, but
Well, Josh pulls the Yonko, and we'll go ahead and cut the 7-mon here. Well, I wanted Ipeko last hand, so hey, if the table can win it, I'll grab one. You just look at these shapes, and the more I'm looking at, the more I really dislike that 1-pin cut. Because I feel a hand like that just isn't usually worth any value unless you get the Dora anyway. But may suspect is paired up, and of course Melvin has 2 of them. Melvin hoarding that Suji with the 2-pin pair, 5-pin pair, and 8-pin pair. And that's Tempai, and we're going to see a Ricci here by Josh. This is a dealer Ricci for Ricci Dora 2, waiting on 1 4-pin.
and that's an Anko of pay for Melvin.
Melvin's dreaming Suanko, and the last thing you want to hear when you have a monster hand that's slow is dealer Ricci. Vince goes and keeps the Shanten here, but not really expecting to win. Just keeping as an option. That's definitely how you play against dealer Ricci most of the time. Foreman, on the other hand, feels like a bit more of a shove.
Ormon, I believe, was cut on the first turn after the Ricci, so it should be safe. And yep, Melvin is just going to fold out with his perfectly safe pay tiles. Only deals in on Kokshi.
That's not likely to happen. You're correct. The Foreman did come out after the Ricci. And Melvin is trying to move this towards a Cheetoy at this point. He's given up on Suanko. That 7 does not fit at all in this hand. And Vince says, okay, that's a sign. We just end
Yep,
it
he
here.
sees all 4 Wests. He's just going to fold out.
Right suit, wrong tile. One pin, that is
Oh,
the
there's
winning
the one
tile. I
pin.
can't imagine you're going to shove from Ishanten for Chitoy here, though. Especially since it's near Dora. You can tell Melvin's thinking about it. There's probably more decision. Do I hard fold at this point? Or
Absolutely.
yeah.
Just gonna hard
It wasn't
fold
going to be
out.
the one pin, but the question was probably the 9, so. Four pin.
there's
Well,
the
that
four.
is the tile that the table wants. This may be a chase, Ricci. Nope, we'll just Dama
Nope.
this.
Melvin senses blood in the water, is gonna just completely fold out.
There goes 3 so into the pawn. Of course, Kevin does not have a Yaku, can only win on sumo here. But no reason to get involved here, and it's going to be 2-player senpai. Josh will have a repeat. We have one of those fun big homba coming up here. Kevin says, I don't want to lose any ground, and will instead gain an extra relative 1,000 because of Josh's repeat stick in the middle.
And just like that, there's just 2,500 points on the board, and next player wins, takes it all.
Decent shapes there. Needs the 7 so to really pull together. Now, if I'm seeing this hand right, Vince has a potential monster. Yeah, Ricci, Pinfu, maybe some Tanyao. And of course, you see the Dora there. There are lots of ways this hand can get expensive very quickly. Seven, so it feels so good to draw it, and when you see the 8-9 and then you realize you already have a 7, just throw it back. So the Dora is 5 so.
5 so, and I believe we saw that in someone's hand.
Josh taking a look at this, not really like the shapes, and I don't really either. The 1, 2, 4, 7, 9. You probably have to use 2 of those shapes. You need the 8 and the 3. Ugh. Well, the double Dora also better than a normal Dora usually.
Yep, also good that he's already paired it up with the 4 so and doesn't have to take that hit on the Ranman weight.
Josh just drawing a mess
Josh,
of tiles.
this is not what you want to see in your dealership.
1, 2, 4, 7, 9. That what was that? 1, 3, 8, 9. Ugh. Then Pin will connect to that 8 very nicely.
Good tiles here.
Kevin's hand also a bit of a mess, but does have a door at least. Well, that's one of the tiles you need. Gets the 8-mon here for Josh, but still a long way to go with that hand. Vince really looking for the 7 so and 2 pin. Oh, that's a connection to the double Dora. So that looking like a Ishanten for Ricci Pinfu Dora 2.
Yeah, I think if you want to be anyone at the table right now, you would definitely want to be Melvin. He's just been drawing good tile after good tile.
Well, at this hand anyway, if I'm looking at the scores, I don't want to be Melvin. But that's the type of comeback hand you're going to need. Ooh, and now another Dora. You definitely cut the June here. You just go.
Like you should just hedge. Oh, he's just going to cut it.
So the problem here is you cut the 7 so a lot of your upgrades can't actually use it. But I think I'd still just keep the Dora. Well, Ricci Pinfu Dora 2 is better. Ricci Pinfu Dora 3 or Dora 4 is better than that. Not going to hedge for a 2, 3, 4 type upgrade there, but 2 sort of really didn't fit in the hand as it was. And there we see Melvin just going in and keeping the safe tile and just switching it out here. Kevin's hand isn't really budging. Josh's hand, we knew it wasn't going to budge from the start. It just, you have to fill so many conchon in a hand like that. And you're dealer, you don't want to pay out the big homa. But the tiles just aren't cooperating. You can see even pulls the 3 so wants to just fold out of this and said, no, I can't. That's wrong. So the efficient cut here is the Shah, and just says we take the efficiency and keep this 1, 3, 3, 4, 5 course shape like that. Can upgrade on a 1, a 3, a 2, or a 6. Lots of ways for that hand to make tempi, and that's just in the pins. Of course, you also have the other shape. Well, that is Ishan 10 for Josh. You cut the 9 so here normally. And again, you can tell, just wants to fold out of this hand. Keep picking that 3 up and putting it down and going, no, I shouldn't do that. No, you shouldn't. Just goes for it. You're dealer. There's a homa on board. There's a Ricci stick on board. You want to take it. But here's our tempi. And the Ipatsu break as well. This is on the 2 pin.
$3,500 on the board. That is nothing to scoff at. Even a 1-han hand was going to feel big here.
Well, Josh, look at this south. We see at least one of them cut. I think you just shove it anyway. You're a dealer. You want the value here. I think you just go. If you get something really bad, then sure you could fold. But I think a once cut honor is fine. On the other hand, he just says, you know what? I'm out. Forget this. Oh, well, that could have changed the shape quite a bit, but this is actually Ricci Dora 3, I believe. No, Ricci Dora 1.
And Melvin here also drawing into his tempi, going to Ricci, and he's going to open.
There's our second Chase Ricci. Also on the 6-9 pin, as we saw the first one was.
Stand clear of the open reach.
Oh, well, now you have a south pair. You have the 1 cut. It's definitely your safe tile, but you're tempted to just push here. I think Josh will just fold out, especially 2 Riccis.
Yeah, 2 Riccis on the board. It's very big if you do win this, but I don't think it's worth dealing into Vince, who's right behind you in terms of. You do see 3 of the south. Ooh, but I think he's gonna push this. And there's the sumo from Vince.
Ooh, that's an Ipatsu deal in on the open Ricci. Open Ricci, Ipatsu, Pinfu, Dora 2, I believe.
This is huge for Melvin.
Ipatsu, yeah, it gets the Ipatsu as well. So that's going to be a Hanemon and Melvin. We talk about that big homa, and now Melvin is not in a great position, but not bad. But Vince now, that kind of stings. Anytime you deal into last place for a Hanemon, it's going to definitely change things for your position. Vince, though, has a dealer turn here and will have some options.
Lots of pins in his hand.
Yeah, you're thinking Itsu. You look at it initially and think Chinitsu, and then you go, probably not. But I like cutting the 9-mon and just seeing how it develops. Yeah, if you can get the Chinitsu, it's great. If you pull the 7-mon, you just play normally. You may even get Itsu or a full straight out of it. There are plenty of ways for a hand like that to get value, and it's very callable. Okay, with the north pair, but honestly, not much else. And given that that is the west seat, it's always fun when the west seat has the north pair and the north seat has the west pair.
Yep. Chundora, one of them is in Vince's hand.
Now, Vince just says, I'm going for it. We're cutting the 6-8 now. And Josh has decent shapes, but there's just no value in that hand. Well, there goes our first Dora. Vince just throws it out.
Oh, and I'm being told by our producers that Vince is show high right now. Definitely not what you want to happen, especially on your dealer turn. I think he might have
Oh,
forgotten to
especially
take
in
his
this
first draw.
position. Yeah, hand did look a little short. Fills in one of those Riamo with the 8 Mon. Again, still the problem with the hand, as I said before, is there's just no value to it. And yeah, Vince has a dead hand at this point, so can actually win the situation if somehow the hand makes it to a draw. Can also not claim tempi payments because it would not be a valid hand shape.
Melvin opting to cut the north pair. Already once in Josh's river, so can't really do a good champon weight with that.
And 7. Now you feel a little bad about cutting the 6 earlier and the 9, maybe even for Sanjugu. But at that point, there's not much you can do. 9 show does nothing for that hand, just throws it back. Vince, you can tell, is just you want to get rid of those dangerous tiles early when you're in the situation. Having a dead hand never feels great, but you get rid of those early tiles, and it's beta hour practice. You just fold out, hard fold, don't even really think about what anyone else at the table is doing. You just play defense. And one of the problems a lot of people get
shifting into a Tanyao shape, getting rid of those 1 mons. Vin's continuing to just get rid of dangerous tiles before they could become really dangerous.
Yeah, that's what I was saying is those middle tiles you want to get rid of earlier because it's hard to play defense for 15, 16 turns. I see a call here by Kevin. Melvin Curly Ishan 10 would be reaching Nomi.
Yeah, 1 call on the board is going to make it hard for Vince to suss out exactly when Kevin gets tempi here. So folding might be a little bit harder from here on out for him. I think that's why he chose the 3-pin over the 6-pin.
Well, you can tell it's a Tanya, and in Akanashi or games without reds, it's just 1,000 or 1,500. You don't have to worry too much about it. With those red 5s, though, there could be a bomb waiting for me if you just throw a deal into it.
And I believe Kevin also still has a live Nagashi manga.
Pawn.
All right, Kevin now calling for into tempi here, waiting on the 3-6 mon.
Of course, I believe
he
there
just
was a
called the
3-mon
three-mon
pawn, so it was. I heard very early on in my Mahjong career, no one does that. Of course, I've been doing it for almost a decade now.
Oh, absolutely, every time.
Well, that does upgrade the shape. Would have to cut the relatively safe north tile.
I'm just gonna
Instead, just Karagiri.
It is going to make it hard to fill in that 2-4 Kanchan with the 3-mon pawn. But of course, that area also looks somewhat dangerous.
Well, yeah, if you're calling for Tanya with a 3-mon pawn, there's a decent chance it's a 2-2-3-3. Sees the 3 come out, says, "Oh, thank you." Pawns it, and then the 2 is just a nice little casual weight there. Now that is a shape upgrade, but you don't have a pair anymore for Josh. Cutting that Shaw pair to try and avoid dealing in is definitely caused some problems. Oh, I think
Yeah.
that may have been a Sumagari.
Chooses to go headless for now. Oh, and there's an Akka from Melvin.
Yeah, you just got to pay here. You take your Shunten. You can even just call this down for the Tanyao. Best Yaku. Tanyao Changkan.
I believe there is a bounty on Changkan right now. I forget who's paying out and how much. This is a hard decision here because you don't really want to cut the 4 because you don't know exactly how safe it's going to be, but you can't really wait on the 3-mon either.
Not mind just a 5-pin. We'll throw the 7, and that's also fine. The problem is you're going to have to pull in one of those. Oh.
Oh,
Could have gotten some foos extra switch off this, but instead just keep the 3-6. Josh says, well, I'm not afraid of the 2.
oh, we see the pawn from Melvin on the 2-mon.
Yeah, Mo, that 2 has to come out eventually, doesn't it? And now we'll be Tempai on the Shumpon there.
Mintz now with this very nice collection of guest wins is gonna.
Uh-oh,
really
uh-oh. Gonna deal in.
There it is.
Just 1,000. You're not that sad about it, but you would have liked the Tempai payments.
I have lots of change.
It's an acceptable loss, especially considering that now you get your dealership.
Give it.
But it does increase the margin that you have to get if you really want to get that first place. It's a little bit more. It's 2,000 points because he's gaining 1,000 and you're losing 1,000. But things could have been much worse.
No, yeah. And again, here, you're still with them on a second place anyway. But more importantly, that you're dealer. So just win a hand here, and that fixes your problems. And look at this hand. I mean, you can see the shapes there, but they're not great. What, 5-7 and 2 suits. The 2-2-3-5. So feel like a lot of kanchan, but very callable.
Yeah, you could definitely just cut your honors here and just go for a simple Tanyao hand just to help move things along. It's really that 1-2 penchant that might be a little bit of a problem if you draw the 3.
Right, and I like the organizing on a hand like that just to make sure you're reading it correctly. Now, Kevin, on the other hand, is just shoving the 8-mon first turn. May even be going for an early Kokushi based on the rest of those tiles. Vince, though, the pretty nice hand here. Potential Richi Pinfu, Tanyao, Sanshoku, Dora. Of course, you need to draw some things around, connect around that 2-mon. Oh, no, 1-mon is Dora, not 2-mon. And speaking of 1-mon, there it is.
Is he really going to go for Kokushi, or do you think he's going to shift more into a Chanta shape?
He's probably shifting towards Honitsu, but is keeping Kokushi in back of mind. Because that's something a lot of people make mistakes on, is with Kokushi, you don't usually go for it. You keep it as an option while you're going for another hand.
Oh, I go for it. Every time.
Well, you don't get the Yakuman if you don't go for it. At least give yourself the option. Ooh, that's a nice pull for Josh. Ishanten now.
Oh. Sorry.
Oh, we have a stop home coming from Josh. That is his win, so that is going to quicken his hand quite a bit.
Yeah, but you'd rather call the Haku, get at least 2 Han out of this. Josh will looking at it saying, I can get to 30,000, be within manga range and all last, and that's perfectly acceptable. So if the winning tile comes out, you just take it, but you're looking for more here. Okay, there's the shortcut. So that's definitely going towards the Chanta route now. I don't like the 4-mon that much. I'd prefer the 7. In theory, you can slide down to accepting a Dora, but I understand just throwing it back. 3-so goes in and locks the pair in of that 4-so. Kind of an inefficient cut, more a direct play for Shunten decrease than actually necessarily speeding the hand up.
Melvin, I think, unsure whether or not he wants to commit to this 1-2-3 Sancho. He has to
Sanshoku.
cut one of his
There is
pairs.
Sanshoku. We go for Sanshoku. Oh no!
Oh,
We do not go for
we-
Sanshoku. Well, that is an upgrade for Josh. You can get the 3-so here, upgrade to the 4-7 shape now. And of course, if you pawn the Haku, you can then choose to wait on 5-8 or 6-9 Nobetan.
Melvin drawing a mediocre tile, unsure what to do with it. I would toss it back. I think.
Yeah, I don't think the 8-so does anything for that hand. May just be giving up on it flat out. Kevin Nout Shunten would be Richi Dora 1. And the 1-so does come out and gets passed. I'm a little surprised by that because if I'm Kevin, I might just pawn it and slam the door into this. Say we're going Honitsu, it's fine.
Yeah, Kevin does not need a lot of points to take first here. He just needs to pass 2 hands.
Right. The problem though, you don't have a Yaku and it's not really callable if you use this 1-2 penchant. So I like the flexibility of just being able to go with a hand like this. And poor Josh, who's been stuck in Tempai for ages now. Possible Sanshku upgrade for Vince, but I don't think you necessarily believe it. Oh, there goes the Tumon. We imagine the door will come out soon afterwards. And that Tumon was exactly what Melvin would have wanted earlier. Could now have called this down for Sanshoku. And says, hey, if that gets rid of the 2, we'll just throw the door now.
Oh, here's the Aka for Kevin. And he just
Doesn't care. And Mel says, oh, thank you. That gives me some way to win this hand.
Dora 1. How sweet of you.
Oh, do we see a diamond cut? Please throw it and please caught it. There's a 7. I would absolutely con
There's
this.
the
There
con.
it goes.
Let's go. Getting good
Con
flow.
for flow. 8-mon is the new Condora. It doesn't help. And unfortunately, you're waiting on the 7. It doesn't help a whole lot. As now just waiting on the last 7 and do so.
Oh, sorry, I see.
And Kevin's kind of reevaluated this head and going, maybe I don't want to push this, but we'll just keep the Shunten. Anyway. Well, unless you think that tile deals, and you should just shove the 4 because you can draw the 8-mon Dora and upgrade your value.
That's what he's going to do. Vince just trying to protect his points as much as he can at this point. In a league, you don't want to bust. You don't want to manage the, like, if you can't get to the next place, you just want to keep what points you have. Just gonna fold out.
Yeah, because those points will add up over the course of the season. And sometimes you get even the 10,000 versus a 0 or a minus 3,000. Well, again, very important towards the end. Well, that's a bit annoying there for Melvin. Sees the 1, the 2, and the 3 in the discards now.
Don't worry, Melvin. We've all been there.
We have definitely all been there many, many times. Again, just Josh, please give me the tile. This is ridiculous. And Wall
He's been
says,
Tempai for
no.
what, a row and a half now?
I think he was Tempai after the 9-pin cut, and then got the upgrade when the 3-so came out. So has been Tempai for what, a row and a half now. There goes one of those Dora. Oh, didn't take the 6 Kanshan shape. And of course, there goes the 6.
Oh, there's
That
4,
is
5,
Ishan 10, but you don't really want to throw that Dora. And by don't really, I mean don't ever, except for the fact that you're dealer and you may just have to be forced to jam it.
I believe that's the third Formon that's passed. So that Suji 7mon is looking a little good if any of these players.
The problem
ever run
is
that
it's
option.
the Condor indicator, so there's only one of them. And we know it's just super locked in Josh's hand. It will not come out.
There's that Haku that Josh really needs for that Han upgrade. I don't know if Vince throws it out here. It's the third row, and you haven't seen any, so it's a very suspicious tile.
Well,
Yep,
there
it's
goes
not.
our Dora. Throws the 8-mon and breathes a sigh of relief. Oh, well, speaking of Dora, Melvin says, thanks, I'll take that.
So,
There's the sumo, and this gets the
Finally
pension.
sumo.
Hold on, is this enough food? 2, 2, 4, 2, no.
Zero, I do have 300. No, no, fine, fine.
Simple.
You do score this as a Penchon sumo, not a Ryanman sumo.
Yeah, that always gets me on those quizzes, whether or not you get the foo upgrade on these more complicated weights.
Well, Kevin has a decent starting hand here. Routes for just regular Pinfu hand. You could dream Itsu, but I think you just play it straightforward. When you have that 4-6 where 4 money is Dora. Well, speaking of Dora, Josh having a very red hand with 2 of those just jumping out at you, yelling, "Go Tanyao, go Tanyao."
That's exactly what he needs to take first. He just needs that one Mongon in all last.
Melvin with a tune. Oh my, what is this hand?
He could easily go for Honitsu here.
A Hanemon Sumo would be enough to take over first place.
Melvin opting not to calm that Nan. Definitely
Well,
wants
it's going to be harder to do that at this point. You're just looking to build the closed Menhon with maybe a couple Yaku High and a Sumo. And again, that gets you to your Hanemon. It depends if you're playing to get out of last, where you just need the Mangan Sumo, or whether you're trying to win.
I think if you're Melvin, you definitely aren't in that much danger with no home on the board of dropping back to 4th. Unless Vince does something absolutely monstrously disgusting.
Now, Kevin decided he wanted to draw a Dora, and will do so. And Josh pulls in a nice fill there. So she definitely could have some action in all last here.
There's another Monzu that Melvin needs.
Yeah, it's more just a floater at this point. Doesn't do anything. But really want to pair up the Tone or the Hatsu there. Yeah, Kevin, just look at it. I have 2 Dora. I don't have to think very hard. We just go. One so, not the higher level 4. Although there are some Chanta upgrades if you want to take that route. I'd much rather have the Honitsu, though.
Absolutely.
Josh Ishan 10 still. For Tanya Dora 2, or ideally Ricci Tanya Dora 2.
Melvin opting to take this tune.
Yeah, Melvin says, okay, we've had our fun. We're just going to palm this. This will be Chun,
Hoitsu Mangan.
Yes, probably Chanta based on the rest of the shapes as well. You can see Josh just running his finger down the table, not quite sure what to do with that draw because you don't really want to be on this 2-mon. But I think I would go ahead and keep the potential Shampoo and throw the 2-pin because you can accept the Dora and get out of that 2 shape, that 2-2 shape. Nice fill there for Vince. Puts in the Kanchan with the 6-8, pulls the 7, throws the 9. There's your 4. I think for the same reason, you can just cut the 7 here, but instead just cuts the 8. Doesn't want to have to deal with any potential 4E10 down the line. 5, so not the tile Melvin's looking for. Still,
I think with that cut, everyone's going to be sure that he has the flush in Manzu now.
Right. Kevin looks at this 2-mon, not particularly thrilled with it, but going to hold it for now. And may end up regretting that because this is Tempai for Josh. Ricci, Tanya, Dora 2. Could Dama figure that a sumo would be good enough?
I like the Ricci here because he doesn't really.
There are a lot of upgrades, but you probably have to pass on a win. That's always the problem here.
Yeah.
So waiting on 3-pin Dama for Tanya Dora 2. Of course, Sumo is enough to get the Mongon and take over first either way. Oh, this one you just... Now it's Pinfu Tanya Dora 2. You don't even need to. You're just waiting on the 3-6. And that would be first place if the 3-6 comes out from anyone. And this 6 is already fairly loose in Kevin's hand.
3 of them are in Kevin's hand, and I believe that's it. So there's still 5 in the wall. No, 1 of them in Vince's hand, so 4 in the wall. That's still some pretty good odds for Josh in getting this Gakuten.
Vince does throw the 8-mon back, had a ship upgrade, but the upgrade would have also required you throwing Dora if you drew 7, so we're 7-mon. Oh, just
and
Sumo.
There's the Sumo.
Sumo, Pinfu, Tanya, Dora 2, Mongon, Josh with the Gyakuten, and will take over first place here. Big win for Triad.
Yeah, very quick game here. Only 1 Renchan and I think 1 Ryu.
I think we had 2 repeats, but overall, he had very fast game. 10 hands.
Yep, this is really good for Triad. They've been suffering all season. I think this gets them into this might actually be only 7th place, but that's still much better than what they've been doing. I think this might be their first place as well. And let's see if we could get an update on table 2 right now. Last update I have is Opie Dopes in first place with about a 10,000 point margin. And then just Amy and Sam battling it out for 3rd and 4th.
Well, overall, what do you think of the game? One thing I'm noticing a lot of at these tables, people keeping safe tiled very early. I think there should be a little more efficiency played early, and then as you transition to mid-hand, 6, turn 6 to 8, that maybe then you can go ahead and keep the safety, but does get the result here. Big win again for Triad.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that. I think I'm also noticing a lot of players not wanting to feed tiles to other players. That's something that I noticed last season when I played against Josh, where I just had a lot of trouble calling tiles and just trying to advance my hand off of other people.
All righty. Well, I think we're going to go to intermission and wait for the second table of the evening. So hold on, everyone.
Yep, everyone, go to the bathroom, grab a drink, and we'll see you in a few minutes, hopefully. Cross your fingers.
All right, we are back with more End League action here in week 5.
That's right. Game 2, we're going to see the Destroyers, the Opie Dopes, Dora Neko, and the FalKANs. 3 animals and a boat.
Well, I'll put the money on the boat given that option.
I don't know. Amy took a bad 3rd place last round. Nick was the big winner for Team Opie Dopes with a final score of, I believe, about 55,070 points on the ranking. If he continues that, any other team might have a shot at first.
We can see Destroyer just absolutely dominating the overall standings. And honestly, that's kind of how Amy plays. She's very much a boom or bust player. She will pull some absolute monsters out. I've bet at tables for Baimon, Hanemon, Mongon back to back. And of course, everyone just looks up in disgust as they have no control over it. On the other hand, she can deal into some fairly expensive hands if she's just shoving.
Right. The other 3 players play far more digitally. I think we're going to see a lot more defensive plays out of them rather than just being push the way Amy is.
Yeah, Andres especially, another one of those pretty standard digital players, and will be first dealer here. Pretty nice shapes with a nice little Tanya hand. Aiming with a Dora here. The main door is 3-pin. Decent shape for Sam. Could just be a Tanya there. We have a couple two-so paired in different hands. So those are the type of pairs you'd like to call, but if 2 will have them, it's going to be a bit of a mess.
Yep, Andres looks set up definitely for just a simple Tanya hand. I think he's going to want to go for value, especially since FalKANs also has not taken first place, and it shows in the ranking.
Now, Nick building towards maybe a potential Chanta or Junchun Sonchku type hand. Andres getting a potential shape upgrade there. Also pull in the Peiko or even go Cheat Toy if it goes that route. Amy pulls in another Dora here. Very interesting choice. You could get super greedy and cut the 6, but I think the 9-so is the normal cut.
Yep, definitely could keep those 9-so for your pair and pick up the last Haku and just speed up your hand quite a bit here.
Yeah, Nick looks at it, throws the 1. That feels like the type of play that's efficient, but loses almost any value in the hand. Amy gets a nice little upgrade, the 1-3 to a 3-4. Planning to just pull in Haku and go at this point. But the problem with pulling Haku is someone has to draw it or discard it. And the first one came out in the first turn, but we haven't seen the other one. Could be anywhere on the wall at this point. All right, Andres goes in and makes the call here, looking for this Tanya. No Dora, but just get the 1,000, be done with it. Amy gets another nice upgrade here, completes the 4-5 shape. We'll now have a 4-5-6-7 with a discarded 9. So the 8 would upgrade the shape, would potentially be Fury 10. Sam upgrades the shape. There's another call by Andres. Will be temp, I know, on 4-7. So for Tanya Nomi.
I think he might just want to get Sam off his dealership, as Dora Neko is above us in the standings. Does not want him to advance any further.
Now, Nick may just be getting out on this hand. Says the shapes aren't great. We have a 2-call Tanya with a fairly easy to use Dora. And ooh, big pull there by Amy. This Ishan temp would have to eventually throw the door. I think you should always cut 6-pin here. Unless you're just completely reading the Haku's dead and then you go Haku. But yeah, 6-pin is the normal cut. There it goes. Sam says, ooh, Tanya, okay. And of course, unless Kuikai's on, and I'm pretty sure it's not, you can't just cheat it and throw the 9 right back.
No.
But has that 1 month to get rid of now. He got the 9 next turn. Kuikai being swap calling. That call 1 and discard the other, usually not allowed. Nice penchant fill for Nick, who had kind of given up on this hand, but is slowly being drawn back in. That said, everyone knows Andres is way ahead in this hand. The question is, can Amy get an upgrade and hits
Amy.
the nuts
That Haku
with the
and
best
go for
possible tile? callable with the Tanya. Could even go Ricci with the Intoltsu and 2 Dora. Just the perfect draw. Nick now Ishan 10. Would really like a 6-0 for a Pinfu. But Sam says, we'll go ahead and pull that.
I'm gonna go
And
ahead
we'll
and
keep
lock
the
in
Dora
that
shape.
3-pin pair, so we should hopefully keep that Akadora Sozu.
Ugh. I think you just throw the 3 back. I mean, there are Ikeko upgrades, but you just keep your Ishan 10. You could argue to cut the 7-so as well. Of course, we know the 7-so would be the wrong cut because it deals in. It's really nice being able to see all the tiles. Makes you look a lot smarter than you actually are.
Yep. Sam, I would probably opt to cut the 4-so there just to make sure that you could always keep that 5-so in. But of course, we also know that so.
Yeah, I might have gone with a 2-mon, just figuring the callable shape's better because you can call the 4-7 and the 4-7. Oh, but here comes the 2, I presume. So instead, we'll almost certainly call that for Tempai. The question is, which shape will be taken? Probably throws the 4-so and deals in, and that's what's
And
going to
there it
happen. Will be
is.
1,000.
1,000.
It's 1,000 points. I don't think Sam's going to be terribly upset over this. The big loss here is that he loses his dealership.
Yeah, but it's East 1. Even losing the first doesn't hurt that much. It's like, okay, you shut it down. Means no one who is building a potential monster hand got it. Who we know was Amy. Amy had a potential disaster for dealer coming if she sumoed that. Nick with some pretty good shapes in, so I just cut the south here. And there it goes.
I think Nick has some pretty good shapes in all his suits. It's just he has a lot of Sozu.
Yeah, you have too many pairs in a hand like that, but there are decent shapes that can be maneuvered with pretty cleanly. And Sam will go ahead and call the north here. That is the seat wind. Just going for 1,000, figuring the hand's a bit of a mess. And that is Ishan 10 for Nick. Oh, which sunscrew do you want, Andres? And the answer is, I don't know. See a 2-so cut by Sam. Kind of lateral movement in the hand. It's not really going anywhere yet. Seven's a huge pull there for Amy. But she is quite a bit behind in this hand because
Yep.
Nick's just looking for anything. And that's so close to what you were looking for, but it's not it. There it goes. And that fills. So that's like the worst upgrade you possibly could have got because there's no way this hand has any value now. Meanwhile, Amy will take Ishan 10. There's a Penchon fill for Sam. Ishan 10 as well. Of course, Nick's been stuck in Ishan 10 hell, my old home. Unfortunately, I keep trying to move out and they keep pulling me back in. Oh, interesting. I think I would have cut the 6 showing up for the 79 Sanjuku. But instead, just
I
looking for the shape
agree.
upgrades. And Amy going to keep the relatively safe 1-mon instead of the potential upgrades, going for that 788 shape. And Nick is just looking at this and
Draws
what have I
that back.
drawn? What are these draws? Again, we've all been there too.
Oh, I was there a month ago when I was playing against him. This is revenge. I'm enjoying this so much.
Con?
Ooh,
I think you just
con. We
con.
see a con.
Yeah, and this is 32 foo. So this is one of those fun hands. And by fun, I mean, oh God, what's the score?
Not the
Now, the
best
3, I
draw.
think
Not
you
what
just
you
throw
want
it
to
back.
see.
I just throw it back. You can also, if you want to do something weird, you cut the 5-so and take the 688 and the 3355, which gives you more routes to Tempai, but they're significantly worse shapes.
Amy cutting Dora, I don't necessarily disagree with it. It's going to be hard to use. It's also once cut over here by Nick.
Now, the hand's trash. You just want to get rid of it now while you can. And we didn't mention it, but that Khan caused 2 Dora to pop up in the hand that is the most likely to win.
Amy pulling a Yonerenkai for the Sozu shape. Just trying anything to get that hand to have better shapes.
Okay, well, that at least upgrades the shape to perfect Ishunten for Nick, but he's just looking at that. It has the Onkon of the ones, 3 Dora, just sitting here going, gimme, 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 gimme. Why am I not Tempai? I think the answer is you should have watched the last game with Josh in one of those hands.
Nick's still incapable of drawing his upgrade. Straight into Tempai. Andres also having quite a bit of trouble with his shapes right now.
Well, Amy can just go Tanya if you want to cut the 8-9 here. And that's going to be the play.
Yep, looks like she's going to do exactly that.
There is not Tempai. That is the most annoying draw you possibly could have gotten. Because you look at the shapes and going, there are so many ways this could have gone, and I missed all of them.
Literally drawing every Pinzu that doesn't help him.
And Sam says, you know what? I'll just take Tempai. You guys fight it out. Just let me get my 1,000, or even if I do Dora, then we'll get 2,000. But I just want this over with. Now just get rid of the safe tile for now. Oh, Hatsu pair up. And just Karagiris it. Figures it's not really that useful, and the Karagiri may suggest. Oh, there's our Ricci. That's what we're looking for Nick. Ricci, Dora 3, waiting on 4, 7 pin.
The 2 rows of just not getting the tie you need. He finally gets it, gets that reach. It feels so bad doing it this late.
Amy draws a Dora. Says, I'm not throwing that. Of course, hilariously, throwing the Dora may not have been the wrong play because it would have just dealt in for the 2,000 to Sam. Can cut the 2 pin if you want to keep the Ishunten for Sanshoku. May also just fold out here.
Yep.
Oh, that's Tempai for Amy. Would have to throw the Dora and deal in. We may see her just do it. You can tell she wants to. She knows it's bad, especially when you have all those 5. That means the 5-8 suit is usually in demand. And disciplined play just cuts the 8-10. Nick giving a close up to the camera. This is the winning tile. It's been. Oh, it's a 9. Never mind.
Andres getting out the very safe 8-pin now.
And a 4 would deal in. I imagine if Sam throws it, it'll be the 1, though. And keeps Tempai, just does a little shift. It's not the winner for Nick. Andre stuck in Ishunten hell, looking for the 7s. 7 so, 7 mon. Amy doesn't improve the shape. Again, if you have that floating 8 so you're never using, you should probably just fold out at this point. You've made the decision. It was the right one not to shove it. But this hand just doesn't go forward unless you're willing to. So I think you just hard fold.
And yep, there's the 2-pin going out.
Now that 7 mon is Suji on the Ricci, so I think it's fine to push. We see the 4 mon in the discard there to the right.
It
Does
is,
get
and
shoved.
Nick isn't exactly known. Oh, there's
Sumo,
a
big
sumo.
hand. Reach Sumo, door 3, or a check. One and just one.
Just one.
Reach Sumo, Dora 4, I believe, though. So that will be a dealer Hanemon. You see people throwing 6,000 from all angles. And Nick says, thank you. I had that hand, and it was just stuck, and it didn't get Tempai, and it didn't get Tempai, and it didn't get Tempai, and then it finally got Tempai and got it. That's a huge lead now, 43,000. Pretty standard pin fu type shapes here. You do have the pay and 3-pin pair, where Haku is Dora.
Yep.
And Andres has a lot of options on how to play this. You have the East pair, you can probably pull in that, even go Dora Tonki instead of floating Haku. Amy with a pretty conventional hand, might be time to give that 9-mon pair. You could even kind of hedge towards a bunch of hands, your regular Pinfu, towards Tanya, maybe even towards Chinitsu with something like that. Nick takes the floating 4-so. Andres pulls in a 7-mon, which pairs up with the 7-8-8 already in the hand, and just throws the tune. And he gets the 3-so to upgrade with the 2-2 in hand. And Sam has his Deja. Yeah, what do you do here?
I think you have to.
I think I'd have cut 1-so, or even just cut the Penchon and go back to 4-block. But I feel 1-so is kind of your best route to Tanya and upgrades, and you may end up just cutting the 8-9 later anyway.
Right. There's the Akka for Andres. He's just going to cut the 1-so and stay pretty efficient.
Well, he also has a bunch of pairs. It actually fits into the hand for Chitoy.
And there's the regret on cutting the... Yeah.
Well, that does upgrade the shape. I imagine this would be 1 3-mon. Unless you're just going to hard sell out on Chanta, which I don't think you do. Kind of hedge the Chanta, though. Yeah, this hand has 4 pairs, including the East and a Dora and the floating Haku. So going to keep the option open to go Chitoy and just get rid of any extra floaters.
Would be the shortcut to Mongon if he gets Chitoy, Richi Chitoy, Dora.
Oh.
And the Akka in hand, so that'd be your Mongon just right there. And that does give route to 3, 4, 5 Sonic Scoop. But imagine you just throw it back, having thrown the 7 the previous hand, and there it goes. Amy draws the 9, doesn't connect, goes right out. There's the 3 out. See, now you're really regretting cutting the 4-mon. That was the tile you didn't want to see. Because now you'd have the Peiko shape. You'd, I think, actually be Tempai waiting on the 7-so with Richi, Peiko, Dora. Nick just throws the 6 back again, greeting towards the possible Chanta. That's still playing at 6 blocked. He pulls a 7-so, doesn't really do anything for this hand. There is a distant 5, 6, 7 Sonic with a 9-so already been cut. I think it just goes back out. There it goes. 5-so pull. So now you have an interesting shape with the 1 through 3, 5. Just throws it back, though. I feel Sam may be a bit too attached to this 8-9. So if you're going to play like that, you should probably just go to interesting. The 6-pin cut instead of the 9 definitely signifies Chanta is on the brain.
There's the Dora pair for Andres.
So this is an interesting situation. You have Chitoy Ishan 10. You have a very callable hand for just Haku Dora 3 or even Haku Tone Dora 3. We'll stay for the Chitoy.
I don't know. It still doesn't necessarily have to be Chitoy, because if he calls both Ton and Haku, then that's going to be Mongon right there. You don't even need to keep your hand closed.
Yeah, but the shapes are such a mess now. You went back in Shanten for a regular hand by making that decision. If you really wanted to do that, you could have cut 3, 4-mon instead.
1,000.
And Nick has definitely decided this is Chant. And yeah, then just slams the 5, says, we're going for it. Oh no, the
Oh, no,
backfire!
Oh,
And if you would have cut the 3-4, this would be Tempai. And this is your public service announcement. Never trust G-Toy. It always does this. Sam just stuck in this Isha on 10. And Nick will take the 2, which doesn't really fit in the hand, but does
Andres is
slightly
far
widen.
too committed at this point. Cannot call that ton.
Ishan 10 for Amy. Perfect Ishan 10 even.
Oh my god.
Oh,
It's getting
this
worse.
is- oh my god. What do you do here? It's
He's doubling down on the
Cheat
Cheat
Toy. Oh, there's our
And
Tempai.
there's
Amy will
Amy's
just
Ricci.
slam it. Ricci, Dora 1, waiting on 5-8 pin. This will be a chase. I can't imagine you would Dama this. You throw the 2, you just throw the stick in and say we fight.
And there it is. And he is opening.
Open Ricci, open Ricci Chanta.
Stand clear
This
of
would
the
be a
open
manga.
reach.
Oh, Andres.
Oh,
Andres.
absolute despair. And Amy says, well, thanks for the stick donation.
From Amy.
Richipat Sumo Dora. Dora doesn't matter, but it is Mongon either way.
That's one Mongon with Big Homba. So 9,500 plus Nick's Ricci stick.
Take 1,000 back.
Yeah, it's plus 500 everyone.
Still not as big as the dealer Hanemon, so Nick's still quite in the lead. But Amy going to close the gap significantly, and Andres and Sanders looking at it going, could we win a hand? It's only East 3. But you have 2 way out in
There's
front.
so many Tempai just trying to go for that Chi toy. I think with his door count, he could have even hoped for a Hanemon with that hand.
Oh, yeah, there were plenty of routes to make it and just sold out on Chitoy. And I say it many times. That is what Chitoy does to you. Never trust it. It's an evil Yaku that should never be accepted. All right, Andres with a Tanya type hand. You have a floating 9-pin, so maybe you could turn it towards Mitsu later. Amy with a Pinfu type hand. Kind of ugly shapes, though. 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, and pin are okay, but the 1 pin is Dora. Maybe an Itsu upgrade later. And Sam with a Chun pair. Pretty good shapes, but not much value. May just call and go. And Nick with Kanchan Hell. 1379, 1379. Not the ideal situation. Andres pulls into Dora. Doesn't really fit in the hand here, but there are potential routes for that Itsu.
I think if Andres gets really lucky, he might look into Honitsu, but even that's really far away.
Yeah, I feel Sam has the best chance to win this hand. Maybe just call the tune and go. It's just not going anywhere. Nick pairs that up and it's like, well, maybe you go Chanta again. But there goes the tune, and it is passed.
No
First one is
call.
passed.
And there goes Haku, and are we going to see a call from Nick? We are. Tossing out some of the trash in his hand so he can call basically any one of his Kanchans.
And that is a 6-0 that got revealed deep in the wall. 5 is an upgrade, doesn't increase the value of the hand, does complete a shape. When you're open with no real defense like that, just take your 1,000, move the hand forward, don't overthink it.
Yeah, it also puts Amy just that 1,000 points away from being able to Mongon into.
Well, I mean, it'd be nice, but it still leaves 3. You don't have to worry about position quite yet. Now, we see the 8 so go out, doesn't believe in the potential for the 6, 7, 8 Sanjku, which is a long way away. Nick says, thank you, though. We'll go headless Ishunten with 1, 3, 1, 3. Of course, it means Tempai in either suit of a 1, a 2, or a 3.
Sam having a lot of trouble getting his shapes together here. He has that tune that he passed. Maybe he might be regretting not calling that earlier.
Now, may also just be using it as safe tiles to fold with. If you're not going to call that, you're generally saying, I'm not going to play this hand. Which is perfectly acceptable when you have no value and the hand is kind of slow anyway. I might even just keep the Haku as your safe tile, keep the Chun as safe tile, just give up with this. Let the guy that's calling for what you presume is nothing. And unless he has some surprise Dora pair in there, it's going to be 1,000 or 2,000. But just let Nick take care of it for you.
Yep. Nick upgrades his 1/3 Sozu shape into a Ryanmin with the 4 so draw. So
Well,
probably
there goes
looking
Dora.
to pair up his lower Manzu.
Now, when Dealer's cutting Dora, you figure he's probably Ishunten, and that's exactly what it is. It would be Richi Tanyao.
No combo.
Same time, Nick goes in and calls. We have a cultist on board. We're waiting on Sanzo.
Oh. Okay, so hang on. So we completed the payments from Nomi just now.
That is not the tile Andres wanted.
Yeah.
Or just give the 2 character, whichever.
Yeah, you definitely cut that and just keep your option open for Tanyao.
Yeah, and you can just call for the Tanyao if you don't think you're going to draw it.
Okay, I gave everyone a chance.
You know someone is Tempai at this point with the 3 calls and the random 4 so cut.
So I owe you 2,000.
Oh, Dora Tonki, easy switch.
This is correct because you gave me that extra one.
Yeah.
Of course, one of those has already been discarded, but I believe it's very good on the wall. Now, Under says, I better get Tempai. Waiting on 7th pin. And Sam's hand just isn't budging. At this point, you know you're just way behind. I might even just throw Chun here. Oh!
Oh no, the backfire!
Oh!
Oh,
The
never stuff
threesome.
Dora Monkey, never works out.
Imagine not trusting Sanzo. You do not con this. There's
no way you con
way.
this. There's no reason to con this. Sam,
No,
please do not con
absolutely
this.
not.
It's going to be a lot of fun if you do, but don't do it.
See, with a team name like Dora Neko, I'd be tempted to call just from that team name. But you're not supposed to. You're absolutely not supposed to con that. And it just goes in and cuts. So we have the Dora Tonki versus the Kanchan 7 pin. It feels like everyone else is just out at this point. Maybe Amy draws into it. There is a Dora, so only one of those left.
Nick considering for a moment whether or not he wants to wait on the Aka 5. Absolutely not. Just take the 2 Dora.
Now we're going to see a Chi here to upgrade the shape. Now waiting on 4-7 as opposed to just the 7. Figure sacrificing the draw is worth it to accept all those other tiles. And very clearly, Nick does not like this, but goes in and throws it anyway. 9 pin? Yeah, there it goes. It's so close to Nagashi, but there was an early middle tile thrown, so not open. Oh, do we have a Tonki switch? I imagine you just throw it back.
Yeah, I believe 5-so passed earlier, so you'd only be waiting on the Aka.
Amy kind of jukes us, didn't actually pull a tile there. There, I guess, is the 8-so. Yeah, Sam says, well, I'm glad I still have those chewed because this hand ain't winning.
Nick opting not for the Furry 10 pay Tonki.
Well, at this point, you're afraid of the 1 pin against potentially one of the Dama hands. You don't know that they're not temp 5.
Ooh, and there's the South.
Yes, was discarded. Oh, well, you just
Ooh.
throw the 8-mon now. Upgrades the value to 2,900. It's Tanya Dora 1. Seven-so passed not that long
It
ago.
looks like this is going to go to a draw. Andres keeping his dealership.
Well, the real question is where's that 1 pin? Now we're going to see a chi.
Oh.
This might deal in. I imagine it'll be the 8, though. Where is the last 1 pin? That's what everyone wants to know. It does not help Sam get Senpai.
Oh, and this is going to. Oh wait, no.
One draw. Oh, Haite!
Oh, there's the sumo.
Haite, Tanya, Dora 1, 2,000 all.
Yes.
Thank you, Nancy.
Andres puts one big home on the board, and he inches ever so closely to Amy.
Just sumo. It's an easy game when you draw your tiles. Doesn't get Andres out of the situation he was in before just from these sumos, but does get pretty close back towards 25,000. Sam just sitting here going, what did I get myself into this game? I haven't dealt in. We're only 3 hands in. I'm sitting at 13-5.
Andres has a few good shapes in a potential Ipeco in Mons.
Yeah, you're looking
And
for
then
the Ipeco and Mansu. There are other ways to get around it. Here, Amy has Una's 4-fill, be potentially Itsu and Pin as a floating door and a South pair. Wait, South is Dora, so that hand all of a sudden is a lot more expensive than it looked. Nick with a bit of a mess if he disconnected. Andres now connects to the 3-4-5, so nice little shape upgrade. Maybe 1-2-3 Sonshku. Ooh, and a 6 that gets Amy's head is scary. And that is Amy's win. She can just call and go.
Nick just playing efficiently. There's the fill in for Andres. I'd imagine
you
it's
just throw the. I definitely throw
ooh.
the 8-mon. I don't really like the Kutsuki Shunten. I want to fish for a little more value, maybe 1-2-3 Sanshku or Peiko upgrade. And the Kutsuki is just you have 2 extra floaters and completed shapes everywhere else. Looking to connect to one of those 2 floaters. Well, that's a Dora.
Oh.
And you may just slam
It's
it.
really hard. Do you keep it? No, 8-mon comes out here.
I just throw it. I think this is kind of the problem. Not keeping the one so last turn is that South is just going to be stuck in your hand, and the longer it is, the more you're going to have to push it later. So this is an ugly tempai. How do we save this hand? There is one way I see to save this hand, and that is Sanshku Doko. But instead just takes the Riichi Nomi as dealer with the big Homa, waiting on 2 and 2, and Amy says, thanks, I will take that for Tempai, and Mongon showing here on the 6-9. And there's the 6, steals into the Mongon.
Oof.
Amy says, thanks, I'll take my big Homa and a Mongon for 95 plus 1,000 in the middle. That's going to jump her up into first place.
Yeah, this is now looking rough for Andres. He just jumped into last place with Amy first.
And
This
I
is not
still
what he
think
needs
that
right now.
that hand got him in trouble because he kept the South there. That I think you just keep the 1-2-2 shape. You don't keep the floating 8. You throw the South dead. Then you have more information when you take this trash 2 Ricci. 2 and 2 Shumpon Ricci. But instead, Amy now dealer here. Great starting hand. Ipeiko in Mon, floating tiles, 3 4 5 Sanchoku. That's not a hand you quite dream of, but it's really good. Sam with a floating Dora here. Of course, the main Dora is one so. Hatsu pair for Nick. Not too much else. May head towards Shanta. Andres with a 9-pin pair up. Kind of pairs everywhere. It's a bit of a mess. I think the best hand by far is Amy, though.
Absolutely. Another pair for Nick. I don't think you go for it's definitely too late to go for a Chitor hand here, but a man can always dream.
See, when I go for Chitoy, it's always a nightmare. Ugh, 147.
147 so for Sam.
Yeah,
That's a rough
it's
shape to
ugly.
be in.
That hand is just bad. It doesn't get much worse, honestly. You have
On the
one
bright side,
shiny
it can
Dwarf
only get better.
tempted. I've heard that before. And now Andres sees the 6-7-8 Saj goes like, how much do I want to force? Do I keep the Itsu? I think 6-pin might be the normal cut, although I don't hate the 3 so to accept the Dora. I'm mildly surprised Amy didn't just take it for the Sanshoku Dora, but definitely looking for more value. It's very Amy decision there to just pass it and go for the value. If you pair up that one, so the head looks absolutely amazing.
Yep. Nick pulling the last Hatsu.
Oh, just draw the 5 yourself.
3, 4, 5.
There's the pair up of Dora. And you're looking at this hand and going, could I like have 6 less tiles in it? Sixmon does nothing for this hand. We'll cut from the 6-pin to keep the weaker shapes more available. There's an Ipeiko confirm. Normally, the cut here is 9 Mon. You may end up on a random Tonki, and it's better be on a Tonki with a Tanyao than a 9 Mon. Well, that connects to your 6, so I think you just play efficiently. Got the 2, so there it goes. Andres pairs up the 2, doesn't like it, throws it back. Again, it's just one of those tiles to your door you don't want sitting in your hand. Now that Shaw, I wonder if you just cut the 7 Mon there and plan to wait Shaw Tonki.
There's the
Nice
Akka to
little
finish
upgrade
off that
for Nick.
Shinsu for Nick.
And he just looking to call the pay and get Tempai. We'll take the 1 Mon. It is a 1-pin pay Tempai. I imagine that's going to win.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any pay in the river anywhere. So I believe.
Oh, what about Rion Peiko?
Oh, baby. Let's go. I believe there's
Ishan
also a
for
bounty on
Ranpeiko.
Ranpeiko.
Well, there should be. That head deserves a bounty. And Sam sees the 3 pairs and goes, what do I do with this hand? Oh, just
there's a
sumo.
sumo for Nick on
Pay weight, always the best weight.
2 or 4, 8.
Should be 240, I believe.
Yeah.
So 700, 1300.
713.
Yeah. 1326.
240.
I think they're having a problem with table. No one wants to count the food.
713. Sorry.
Okay. I think it's there.
It should be 240 unless I missed something.
800? Or 300.
Yeah, there it is. 700, 1300.
7?
Yeah,
There you go.
that works.
I'm seeing some behind the scenes pictures of Amy drinking water, which is what let her go on a rampage last time she played. That probably explains why she's so far ahead this game.
Now, dehydrated. Oh, look at that. That draw is a 7, so. This is now 2 completed shape-ins, so. Great hand all over. Sam, definitely the player to beat in this hand. Riichi,
Sam-
Kinfu, Dora, maybe 5, 6, 7, Sanshoku. Just an amazing starting hand.
Sam really needs this too.
Nick with decent hand, 3 pairs, but not rich value. 2-pin will complete one of those shapes. The hand's getting close. Actually, Grand Shunton, I believe. The door is 3-pin. Amy's hand is a bit of a mess. It does have the pair of 5s, including an Aka and a 7-9 there. But the rest of the hand's a bit of a mess. And now Ishan 10 for Sam with that Sanshoku 5, 6, 7.
Nine pin doesn't really help here.
I think you cut Formon because you don't know which Sanshoku you're getting. That will be the play. It can be 6, 7, 8. It can also be 7, 8, 9. You just don't know. Oh, well, what do you think of Itsu instead? And the answer is no. Three so upgrades the shape. Nick's hand's still a bit of a mess, though. Andre's fishing for Sanshoku. Amy's hand also a mess. But again, you expect your hand to be a mess at turn 3. You don't expect this.
Oh, there's the
Not an
Onko for
Onko.
Nick.
Yeah, just cut the 9-pin. It doesn't do anything here. Even if you draw the 8, it doesn't help this hand.
And also not the worst choice there. Cut it before anyone could pair it up.
Yep. And there could be a 2 so. Andres will keep the safe tile, considering the rest of the shapes are a mess. 2-pin doesn't help. Keeping the 1 so as the relative safe tile feels the shapes are locked in. 6 so, you do have the overlap where you can accept 5 so twice if you pull it, but it doesn't throw it. I think I'd still cut the 9-pin, but be keeping it as a safe tile. Not really trusting this hand. Ugh, you just throw the 1 so. Because the 4 is not a bad tile to keep around. You'd prefer the Sanshoku, but if you get the other end, it's Dora, which Dora is usually good. The 4-pin doesn't do much. You get a slightly wider Ishunten if you cut, not Ishunten, slightly wider shape if you cut the 9-pin, but I'm just going to kind of hedge everything at this point. Amy's hand still just a mess. Kanchan, Kanchan, pair, pair, Kanchan, floater, 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 floater. Ugh. That is not the tie you were looking for. Throws it back, keeps that amazing Ishan 10 for Sam.
Nick nervous about throwing away Ton turn 7 when it's only
Nick is
visible
dreaming of
one.
Suanko. There are some Chitoy routes, but dreaming of the Suanko with that cut.
Amy draws another pair.
A third 7 for Sam. Well, that doesn't fit in the hands. A goodbye. Andre's hand just hasn't moved. Oh, well, now 3-2 for Amy. So maybe there's a route into this hand. Oh, there it is. You just slammed this one. You could dumb if you really want it, but it is just a reach.
No, Sam needs points.
Ricci, Pinfu, Dora, possible Sanjuku waiting on the 4-7 mon. 7 mon is Sanjuku. Oh, just sumo. It's the cheaper end, but you'll take that.
Sumo.
We take those. Ricci, Patsumo, Pinfu, Dora,
No Ura.
Ura, so we'll just be Mongon, but it is dealer Mongon. We'll get him out of last place.
I don't know. Other side. So you need 1,000. It's 4,000 dealer. I'm dealer. It's 4,000.
Oh, 4.
Sam feeling really good about that one. He's now only one Mongon away from taking Amy. A little. Well, actually, no. He's one Mongon away from taking first. Sorry.
Yeah,
he's
be in
the
first
dealer.
place. Yeah, so there's a bit of a pause there at the table because no one wants to just throw 4,006 out. And Sam didn't have the bounces to pay everyone out. Nice starting hand here. A few pairs, floating shapes. 2, 3, 3, 5, 7, and so may just call it down for Tanya. We'll see. You also have that 1-2 pen chum, which doesn't really fit. But even now, it just feels like it's a Tanya type hand. Nick with a Pinfu, maybe a 6, 7, 8 or 79 Sanjuku here as well. We saw Andres struggle with that last hand. And Andres has, ooh, that's a very nice hand. Look for the 1, 2, 3 Sanjuku. And Amy, of course, the door is 9, so it has a floating 9. So the rest of the hand, though, kind of a mess. Needs to fill in a Kanchan and Penchon to really get the hand moving. Speaking of filling Penchon, there's one. As that's going to get Sam up and moving, filling in that 3-mon pull. So will not likely be Tanya unless a 4-mon's pulled and shifts it. But that hand's looking significantly stronger now. Oh, what do you think of Sanjuku?
I'm getting a report from Table 2 that Vince just got a direct hit Baimon off of Mitten's bot.
Oof. Well, that'll catch up some points for sure. Amy's hand just isn't going anywhere. There's not much you can do with this. You just play efficiently and hope you draw things. 3-mon, you can keep it for the Peiko, but I think you just take the shapes as they are. Let's see a 4-so draw here for Nick. I might just throw the Hatsu. The problem is you threw the 6-so last turn, so a lot of your upgrades to the 4-so are going to be 4-10. I think you should throw the Hatsu last turn. And he pairs up the 9-pin. It's just a mess. No matter how many times you look at the hand, it just gets worse every time. Ooh, Sam believing hard in the 1, 2, 3 Sanju. Could have just cut the 1-mon and given himself the option to go Tanya, but just believes it's 1, 2, 3 Sanjuku.
It's a bit of an awkward draw for Andres. I think you just toss it back. Nope, he's going to go for the 1. So
He also wants the 1, 2, 3 Sanjuku. Six-mon does nothing. There it goes. South does nothing. Might be keepy as a safe tile, but gets rid of it right now. There's your Sanjuku upgrade. I imagine this is 8-mon. Well, Amy pulls an Anko out of this, but the hand's just still a mess. Chun does nothing. Stonestone does connect to the 5. You can cut the 4-pin here and at least advance the hand a little bit. So you can accept the 4-10 6-so. So feeling a bit of regret having cut that 6-so earlier. Amy just throws the door here. Doesn't believe it's going to fit in this hand. It doesn't want it sitting in the hand any longer. Sam going to go ahead and lock the shapes in mostly. That's the 8 pin.
Yeah, now we have a
Oh my
3,
goodness!
5,
Look at Nick's
7.
pawn. Nick
Young
has this
pawn.
3-5-7 with a 4-6 in your discards.
I'd imagine Andres. Oh, not committing to the Sanshoku there.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by that cut. Because it feels like it's hard to turn into anything else. Maybe a little scared of just pushing the 2 so.
Right, and the table doesn't look scary just yet.
Yeah, I don't
And-
think it looks scary either.
And you really, really need points at this stage.
Well, see, even that draw, that's like your best draw to keep the extra 2 so, and you just throws it right back. Well, that's an interesting draw. You can't cut 5 pin for maximum efficiency. May just be folding out of this. This is just looking more and more like
just
where
get
he's
rid of
for
those
Nick.
shows. We don't want them anymore.
Yeah, kind of dug his own hole there, cutting those middle so tiles early. That's the tile you're looking for. Can't even call that down for the Sanshoku if needed.
It's a better shape than the Kanchan that you have lying around, but
This is why the 5 pin should have gone out earlier, because this hand feels like it's a lot easier to play with it in Totsu, but you kept this Kanchan 6 pin, which doesn't really help. Well, that's a nice shape upgrade. You can just cut the 3 so and kind of hedge everything. That's what I do here. You don't want to give up on the Dora just yet, but it's a consideration. It's a fairly wide. You want to accept the Dora 9 so. Yeah, there goes the 3
there it
so.
is.
Plus, of course, again, we mentioned it earlier. You can just call for the Sanjika. You don't have to win it. But there's our Ricci. Ricci, Pinfu, Dora, possibly Pico for Nick. Nice hand. Oh, Amy just draws it. Gets the 6. Says, you know what? You were completely wrong, Core. I knew I was going to draw the 6. That is not the winning tile for Nick, but we're now in the 3rd row. Unfortunately, with a 2, 4, and then 3 cut there by Amy back to back. Now just looking for this Sanjika. It's just not coming. Ooh. Ooh.
It is a
Can-
straight tile though, so if he does want to fold, he couldn't just.
Yeah, just throws the 1 so, says, I'm out. It's fine. There are a couple routes back towards a 10-5. It's going to require a bunch of draws. And Sam just throws the Aka 5 so, which is Genbutsu, so it's safe against the dealer, the Ricci here. That's going to be a Chi looking for probably just the K10. Not giving up on that possible 1,500 points. And that is Tempai for Avi. She managed to pull it.
But you're only stuck with a Shampon or a Penchant.
And the Penchant would be Flurry 10. But
Oh,
she's
and
just going to
there's the
slam
Ricci.
it. Jump on 8
Is he opening?
on 2 pin.
She's keeping it closed.
Closed. I see Andre's Brachipotsu says, I've seen enough of Amy to know I don't want her to draw this tile.
And Sam in a bit of a crisis trying to find something that's safe.
And Andres draws Dora, and that's probably the end of this.
Just a second, I'll rub it the die.
Wow. What do you do if you're Sam?
One pin is safe, I believe.
I'm gonna keep the ability to maybe call for Tempai later. But we're kind of running out of wall space. So you can kick Tempai if you throw the door, and there it goes. 8, so will not be there. We're going to see 3 players Tempai.
Sam working so hard for those points the last round, and now 3,000 points are gone. I believe that adds a second big homa, so there is now 5,000 points on the board for the next winner. That's a hand that you just push for any Han you could get, any one Han Yaku.
Yeah, this is one where we're like, please give me a hand to call. Please give me a hand to call. And this is a callable hand. You could work this with a Hatsu pair. Like, it's obviously callable. You just go. You don't think very hard. Of course, if Nick wins this hand, then you have Homa 3. And that's when it starts getting really scary. Once the dealer, with even one of a hand, where you have 2 Homa like this. Once you get to 3, that's 45 every hand going forward.
And I believe 3 homa is Nick's record this season. So we'll see if he could match that or increase it even more.
Now, Amy has a Pinfu type hand. May just call it down for Tanya if the 6-mon comes out. Sam has a Pinfu type hand, but a bit slower. Maybe just at 5, 6, 7 Sanshku, but unlikely. Nick's just in the position to win this hand. Andres has a Pinfu hand as well. Really, it's a 3-pin
Oh, there's
to
the
move
hot
it forward.
I can't imagine Nick not calling it. There it is.
Well, if he doesn't, his teammates should just drive down there and go and whack him over the head.
Oh, good pair up for Amy on Chun.
Yeah, great pair for Amy. She can call and make this fight now.
Now Sam is also looking that he could push Tanya if he draws the 6-mon.
The 5-pin's a very interesting draw there. You want to go. You know what? I just want to cut 1-3. I want to go Tanya.
Yeah,
with
I think
this
you have to
value.
go for Tanya here. There's 5,000 points on the board.
Well, Ishanten now for Amy can just pull in the tune and be Tempai. Ooh, Sanzo, that fills that shape well. Ishanten for Sam would be Richidomi. Well,
Another
there's 3,
Sanzo.
so now you could cut the 2-pin.
Cut the 1, so come on, Andres.
You're supposed to
Andres.
cut the. I don't mind cutting the 2-pin here. But I think that's what he's balancing. Yeah, he cuts the 2-pin. Oh, and that's a Dora tile, so Amy will keep it. Of course, if the tune comes out, you obviously just take it and throw the Dora. But it's fine as is, because you can always draw the 3-mon and just take your Ricci. Now you cut 1. So.
Andres, 1 so. Come on. There's no
It
reason
should
to
just
cut
be
it. You
1
need
so.
a callable hand if you want to make it back into this. You need all that big homa and the extra.
You know you're behind in this hand. There's so much in the middle. There goes the 1 so. Ugh. You have the 3, 5, 7, 9. Which one do you prefer? Do you cut the 9 or the 3?
I cut the 9 just on the off chance I could get this into Tempa or into Tanya and have a callable hand.
Well, now you see Ishanten from Nick will need a 5 or a 6 and a 7. Okay, now I see Andres and Ishanten. Perfect Ishanten and callable. But the real quick, where are the tune? Because Amy should be Amy should have been Tempai ages ago. Sam just gets rid of the 5. This is a big efficiency hit. And instead, Nick says, thanks, I'll take Tempai. With showing 2 Han, this is dealer. This would be 29 plus the 5,000 in the middle.
Yeah, of course, only 2,000 or only 3,000 of that is going to be paid by the deal-in. 2,000 is coming from the Ricci sticks.
Just waiting on 7-mon here. The thing is, it might come out of Andre's hand, especially if the 8-mon comes out. You pull it, it's like, it's one chance, whatever. Oh, well, there's a Dora pair. Now Amy's hand plays itself.
Oh,
This
there's
will be
the
an
tune.
easy pull if it comes out.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Sam should be very concerned about this tile. And he is.
Oh, he
this
is.
a good hold because you just think the shapes are so bad that it's
Yeah.
not worth it. Oh,
I
that
would have
one
cut it.
that I imagine gets pulled, and she just takes the Otozuki. It's passed.
No, it passed. She doesn't want Mongun. She wants cheap hand.
No, not the 2-mon. May have just decided someone's waiting on the 1-mon, but that's a huge efficiency hit to keep that Haku. I don't like that at all. Maybe very concerned about the dealer hand here, but dealer threw the 1-mon already, so it's not like it does anything. You have 1 extra Ukeire versus the 4 you gave up. That's a really inefficient play.
Sam could cut Chun here and keep a very nice weight in the Sozu. But he's going to take the 8-pin. That's a nice hedge.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with this. Oh, well, you can't even Dama this, but I'd slam it. This is Pinfu Tanya. Question, will there be a Ricci?
He's going to reach.
Will Ricci, Pinfu Tanya with the 2 big homa and now 3 Ricci sticks in the middle. And this is Tempai for Amy. You just chase. The question, I think she's questioning whether she should open Ricci, and I think you do. But you have to throw top. You 100% throw it. The question,
yeah.
Will she open Ricci?
I don't think she necessarily needs it. I think it's Mongon already.
It is Mongon already. Will just Ricci. So 1-mon. Oh, there's the 1-mon.
Oh no,
Yeah,
this is a disaster for Nick. Because it only passed 3 okay.
Yeah, I think that's
very disciplined, folds out.
It's one where you just deal into bad stuff almost every time. And maybe even double road on that one.
Oh man, I'm so nervous.
And the thing is, Nick's hand is not really in a good position to fold, but you have to try. Is an honor, but it's the wrong one for Amy.
All right. Sam expertly draws Gembutsu here. Oh,
no, that
there's
gives
the
Nick a way to get
for
back
Andres.
towards.
There it is.
That's going to deal in. Yeah, I don't think you had to throw that. I think you got away with the 9, but we'll deal into Ricci Pinfu Tanya. We'll see if they're ready Aura. Nope, no Aura.
No Aura.
Oh, that's where the tune was. It was Uradora. And Amy goes, gee, thanks, game. That's a huge swing. Brings Andres almost all the way back up into 3rd.
Yep, and on his dealership, he already has pair of Haku there. Gonna have a nice quick hand if he wants to take it.
Yep. Pretty straightforward here.
Yonkan in the Manzu.
Yeah, shapes overall are okay. Amy with a pin food to have a 5, 6, 7 Sanshku being the ideal. But when you have a south pair, you just double
and
south
that's
call and
double
go.
south for Amy as well. That's an easy 2 Han for her.
3 so is Dora. We saw a pair up there for Sam. And Nick with a standard pin fu hand, nothing fancy. Needs the 7 so to fill that bench on.
Oh, and that's 3 kinds of Genpai in Andres' hand. He could look for a possible Sangen.
I like Amy's hand just a lot more.
Yeah, well, I have to be biased for Andres. It's kind of my job here.
Now, Andres not getting really any improvement. The shapes are just getting worse and worse. Oh, and yeah, Amy just says, yeah, you guys have fun. I'm going for Sanshku Doko on 5s. Now, yeah, that 9 cut suggests she might like actually be doing it.
I think there's also a bounty on Sancho Gudoko. Nick nervous to throw out that non as he should be.
It does increase the lower the shunt. Well, no, it keeps the same shunten, but makes the shape slightly better. But it's just not moving. Also, this is now E-shunten for Chitoy, but Amy definitely has dealt with enough Chitoy to say the answer is never trust Chitoy.
A nice fill for Nick if he wanted to go. I didn't see the other end of his hand. Anyway.
Now, Andres, oh, well, yeah, Amy's just in the driver's seat here. It's not that complicated. Because Andres' hand is working towards something, but all the shapes are bad.
Yeah, he's just going to call that Haku and hopefully speed up his hand here.
Right. Fremon does nothing. I just throw it back.
This is the regular door. This
So,
is
it's Richie June time door 3. Yeah.
And there, throw a Hatsu, draw a Hatsu. Because you're always, that's always how it is. There's the non. That's going to be pulled. Amy's trying to figure out how important is Sanshuku. And the answer is it's not when you already have 4 Han. 8 Mon is the normal cut here.
Oh, wait, I can't deal with manga.
I think she's trying to count the Han here. Yeah, the Sanju open doesn't actually get you an extra value, but throws a 7 pin anyway.
I guess she wants to keep the option open because I think
No, it
she
can't.
could get
It
up to
can't be
Hanemon.
Doko. It cannot be Doko because you already got the 5 so. But yeah, looking for the Sanshuku here, but it'd be Sanshuku double non door 2. So unless you get the 3rd Aka, it's always just gonna be Manga either way. And regardless of what tempai you end up on, you're going to need one of the 5s to get this 2 tempai. That's why the 8 mon's the normal cut. Now that upgrades the shape somewhat. You just cut the 7-9. That's going to be the play. Keep the Ryokan. Well, Amy has another chance. Doesn't want it. One so does nothing for Andres. Chun does nothing for Amy. Boy, just a whole bunch of trash drawn back to back to back. Okay, that actually does help this hand. That moves it to an E-Shunten, a better E-Shunten. You just cut the 8-9 and go Tanya, and that's going to be the play. Tanya Dora 2 good enough, but Andres says thank you. I will take that. Upgrade to E-Shunten. And Andres being dealer does have the, and there's going to be the Chi on the 9, now Tempai on 5 and 5. And a bit of a problem here for Sam is this, and Totsu will be Furi 10, so maybe just get rid of it at some point.
There's the 5 that Amy
Uh-oh,
used.
and this may get shoved. It is the whitest Ishantin should just shove it.
Yep,
And there it
there
goes.
it is. Amy gets.
That's going to be a Mongon for Amy. Going to extend her lead significantly in first. Non-Dora Dora. And with that, like, basically no one can challenge her here at all last. Even a Mongon Suwa by Nick isn't enough to catch. But Amy has a Pinfu type hand here, nothing fancy. Maybe some upgrades potential for an Itsu, but just play straightforward. Sam with, ooh, nice little shape in So. Looking for an excuse to go Honitsu. Yeah, you just go Honitsu.
Oh, yeah.
Forget
Hell.
it, you just go. Nick with a very nice hand with 2 Dora, decent shapes. Really the 7-pin or a 5-pin, 8-pin to fix those. You just want to go Tanya. And Andres has a hand that wants to just go Haku Dora, but he needs a lot more than Haku Dora here.
I think his best bet is just hoping that either Amy wins another hand and builds up some Homba that he can then just take and somehow Gakuten into second or third.
Yeah, that's just not the hand you want when you have to build, what, Hanemon or Mongon Direct? Maybe keeping some options open for the Itsu. 9-pin. Oh, it's Chitoy. Oh, no.
Undressed wisely, not taking the pawn on the Haku, trying to build a little bit more value that he could actually fight off the other players with.
Yeah, well, the 2000 doesn't help you. It doesn't help your team either. Five's useless. Throws it back. You honestly don't want to have that 9-mon in the hand either, so even as a waiting tile, if you get the Chitoy Tempai, it's not a good one because it's right by Dora. Turbos are usually good, but not when 7-mon is your Dora. Just be 3-pin, unless you want to disguise which suit you're in. Just plays it straightforward. 8 So doesn't. If you really believe in Chitoy, that's a good tile to hold on to because you cut the 5 So. Oh, and that's what Andres is looking for. Ishunten now for what would be Richi Haku.
I think this far behind, you even start thinking about doing a non-chasing Ricci.
I don't know, honestly. Well, let's just be 9. Ooh, oh no, I don't like that. I think you throw the 9-mon there. Now give you just take what the hand gives you. Oh my!
Oh.
What is this? Toy, Honitsu, Hatsu, maybe Sunanko or Suanko in there somewhere. Nah, that's gonna be the Pong.
Definitely going for the Toy Honitsu here. That's Mongon already.
And they get him in second. That's perfectly fine with where he is. Nick holding onto this Hatsu. Really since it's pretty bad. That you can actually wait on Dora. You can cut the 2-mon here or even the 8-mon. I think that's what Andres is deciding. This is not an intuitive play, but you need value. I really like cutting 8-mon here. You can't just do the 2 and kind of hedge both, though.
That's what he's going to do.
He trying to decide what to do with this hand. Just cuts the 5, 6, even the 7 has been pulled. Of course, we know Sam also has 2 of the 4s. There's your tempo. You
That's
just
exactly
smash
what
it.
you need, Andres. I think you definitely have to slam the button here.
Well, the problem is the Mongon Sumo itself doesn't do enough for him. So he's looking for someone else to reach in front of him. But eventually, you know what?
There it
It's
is,
fine.
and just like I said,
Open
he's going to open
Ricci.
Ricci this.
Yep. That makes perfect sense. Ricci,
Stand
Haku.
clear of the open reach.
Open Ricci, Haku, Dora 1. With Sumo, 1 Ura would be Hanemon.
No e-pots for that, unfortunately. And Amy draws one of his outs. So now 3 of them are sitting in her hand. And I see 1 in Sam's river.
Oh, that's Tempai for Sam. Waiting on Shaw Forso. Also possible Sun Anko if he sumos. Would Sun Anko would be enough to overtake Amy with this Ricci stick. There'd be a swing of 18,000 plus 1. 19,000 would close the gap.
Dodge is drawn by Amy, by the way. And there's the Sumo for Andres.
No, Ura.
No, oh, that's unfortunate.
Well, it gets the open Ricci, Sumo, Haku, Dora 1, Mongon. Will still be in 4th place by 600 points after this, though.
Good game.
And that's the end here. Amy going to pick up 1st place, 35-7. Nick in 2nd, 25-3. Sam in 3rd with 19-8. And Andres with 19-2.
Yeah, very unfortunate no Ura for Andres. Although I think it would be pretty hard to grade that to the Baimon that he would need to overtake Sam. But I think overall you have to be at least a little bit happy that you didn't end up as far down as you were 2 hands ago. So, especially in this league format where you don't want to lose too many points.
Yeah, it's all about the points here. They all add up over the course of the season. But Amy, 1st place team, extending their lead. Another win here for the Destroyers.
But you're still on audio, so don't relax that much.
I would have drawn your Dalton with dealing file.
Yep, looks like that's going to be the ball game for us here. This has been Ricci Nomi. You can follow us on all our socials at NYC Ricci Nomi, I believe the handle, as well as RicciNomi.com. This has been Mike and Korak signing off.
Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, no, all the Dora were just